Alexis Nunes here alongside Mark Ogden. We are there about 2 months away from the Euros 2021 now, Augie, and I want you to give me your 23-man roster for the England squad. So you've given us, and we're going to put it up because I have some bones to pick with you here. I know that it's one of those years where England seem to be absolutely spoilt for choice, which is a good problem to have, but it might cause a headache for Gareth Southgate and company. Now, right off the bat, the name that stands out to me that you have chosen, man like Jesse Lingard included. Is that how you see it then, Augie, that this run that he's on, he's basically made himself 100% choosable for the England?
Absolutely. And I think, Gareth Southgate had Jesse Lingard in his squad at the World Cup in 2018. He had a good tournament. And Gareth Southgate is a manager that is loyal to players that have served him well. So I think we see that with Jordan Pickford. People have called for Pickford to be dropped at times, but Southgate has largely stuck with him. So, I remember back in January that we wrote that Southgate was going to give Lingard the chance to get back into his squad if he got a move from Man United, if he got some games. He's done that, but he's not only has he done it, he's just done it spectacularly. So he's basically hit the ball out of the ground in terms of what he's done at West Ham. 6 goals in 8 games, some really good goals as well. And he's revitalised, and I think it's a huge credit to David Moyes for how he's not only spotted the fact that Lingard had something left in him, but the fact that he's got it out of him. And I think as well, you have to say, what were Man United doing? Why did they not see that Jesse Lingard had this in him to deliver? Because, you look at United at the moment, Anthony Martial's injured, Daniel James doesn't obviously cut it all the time at that level. It is easy to perform at West Ham because teams don't defend as deep against teams as they would against Man United, but still, for Jesse Lingard to get such a lack of games at Man United, it does raise question marks as to what the coaches were looking at.
All right, well, I think Jesse Lingard fans will be happy for that one. Just continuing looking at your midfield options, you have Rice, Henderson, Mount, Bellingham, Dyer, Foden, Lingard, and Grealish. I noticed no space at all for a certain James Maddison. There's been a huge question mark around him given his recent injury, but he has been back at least at this point for Leicester, Augie. Again, this is who you would choose to go, so why no room for Madders?
I think it's also what Gareth Southgate would choose as well. James Maddison's had a good couple of years at Leicester, but he's not managed to break into the England team so far. Jack Grealish has done it, Phil Foden's done it, Mason Mount have done it. So he's got 3 very good players ahead of him. And I think the Euros come too soon for James Maddison. I think that's the problem that he faces. I think England have got a lot of options in midfield, and he's going to have to miss out, unfortunately. You can't have 4 attacking midfielders in your team because you have to counter that out with the players you've got further back. So for me, I think Southgate might also find it difficult to pick Grealish, Foden and Mount in the same squad because you've got 3 players that offer similar qualities. But I just think they're all playing so well, or they have done so well recently. I know Grealish has been injured, that it's impossible to leave them out.
I don't think Phil Foden has to worry too much there because it definitely should be a definite for that squad. Now let's go to the defense because here's where it's a topic of conversation, especially at the right back position. We're looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold. He recently got dropped, but you have him to go to Europe, at least for the Euros. Recently, I suppose he left a lot to be desired in the match against Real Madrid. A lot of people have been saying, hey, take Reece James or maybe give Aaron Wan-Bissaka a look in and forget about Trent Alexander-Arnold, because when he's not going forward and providing assists, he's not really defending well, Augie. But you have him in. Why is that?
I just think with Trent Alexander-Arnold, you've got to look at his track record. Premier League winner with Liverpool, Champions League winner, Champions League finalist the year before. He's played in big games, big occasions, and I think I do accept that defensively he does have his limitations at times, and especially playing for England, which they're not as strong as Liverpool, certainly don't have as much possession as Liverpool. But I think with Alexander-Arnold, he's such an asset going forward that there will be some games in the Euros where Southgate needs that option from the right-hand side to get a cross in. I mean, Harry Kane lives off crosses, so Alexander-Arnold is one of the best deliverers of a ball in the world. So why deny yourself that strength? For me, he reminds me of David Beckham, the way that he can deliver the ball from the right-hand side. Maybe it's time to experiment with Alexander-Arnold, in a right midfield role, and put a defensive right back behind him and play Alexander-Arnold further forward. Maybe time it's too late to do it on the brink of a tournament, but I just think the strengths that Alexander-Arnold has are so big that you have to get him in the squad because he offers a different quality going forward.
Well, Ogden, why not probably Aaron Wan-Bissaka getting a look in for his defensive capabilities, make defending great again, or Reece James for that matter?
I don't think Wan-Bissaka gives you enough as an all-round player, to be honest. I think defensively, yes, as a one-on-one defender, he's very good, but I think we've seen in recent weeks that opposition teams have targeted him at the far post. Brighton did it at the weekend. He doesn't defend the far post very well. He can fall asleep, lose concentration. That happened with the Brighton goal. I think as well, one thing that would concern me about him, he spends a lot of time on the ground, and the best defenders stay on the feet. And Wan-Bissaka, he's got this great ability to hook the ball away from players when he's sliding in. But in a European Championships, when you've got players that know that the slightest bit of contact they'll go down. If you're sliding in anywhere in the penalty area, you're going to concede penalties. So I think Wan-Bissaka misses out because of that, and also because when he's got the ball at his feet, he's just not very good distributing the ball. He isn't. Reece James, I think it's a very close call for Reece James. He's a great athlete. He's got a great ability to defend and attack for Chelsea. But I think you've got Kieran Trippier, you've got Kyle Walker, you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, you've got three experienced right backs ahead of him, I think, in the pecking order. I just don't think Reece James makes it this time.
Well, you mentioned Kyle Walker, and even though you are going with Trent Alexander-Arnold, it's Kyle Walker who you have to start for you in your starting 11. Someone else that you do have in your starting 11 is Jude Bellingham, the youngster, but how impressive has he been? England have to start him at all costs, right?
Listen, he's been amazing. He went to Borussia Dortmund last summer as a 17-year-old kid, and I think people were probably thinking that was a big move for him, but he's been exceptional for Dortmund in the Bundesliga. He's played 8 games in the Champions League from this season as well. And I was at the game at Man City on Tuesday, and he was probably the man of the match. He was unlucky not to have a goal given that was ruled out, I think, incorrectly. He just gives England something different. Obviously, he's very young and inexperienced, but he gives England that ability not only to defend but to get forward as well. He's got great energy, and I think if you put Bellingham alongside, if Jordan Henderson's fit, or Eric Dyer if he makes it, or Declan Rice, it gives them a different option, a different dynamic, and I think you have to have him there. And I just think he gives England something different, and that youthful energy. I think for me, he not only makes the squad, he starts.